Welcome to the CDO Magazine's Women's History Month series. I'm Asha Saxena, CEO of Women Leaders in Data and AI, where world leaders come together, focusing on advancing the mission to create a fair digital world with parity and equity, and advancing women leaders in data and AI. Today, we have the honor to have Sandy Estrada, Vice President, Data and Analytics Practice Leader from Cervello. Sandy, welcome to the show, and I am so excited looking forward talking to you about a Women's History Month.
Thank you, Asha. I'm very excited to have this conversation as well.
Women's History Month, Sally, to me, I feel truly gives the tribute to the legacy of women and the inspiration that they have created for us, not only for us, but also the future generation. Time to pause and really celebrate these women who have been around and done so much for us, not only in politics, science, technology, but also in the world of AI. As you know, it's been around for so long. But truly, this month makes us pause. I would love to hear what does this month means to you, which is dedicated to Women's History Month.
Yeah, quite. Thank you, Asha. It's quite similar to what you just stated. I think for me, it's really a matter of an opportunity to give voice to those in the past who, quite frankly, were voiceless, right? They did not have allies, and those really helping raise their voices in terms of what they were able to accomplish. I remember watching a number of years ago the movie Hidden Figures, where they highlighted Katherine Johnson and Mary Jackson and their contributions to NASA in a program to get us to the moon, for example. And, if you think about that and watch that movie, it's clear women were at the forefront, even back then, to computer science and some of the things that we're doing today. So it's fantastic to be able to have that opportunity to give the voice to those who didn't have that opportunity back then.
They say every day should be when you're celebrating, celebrating in general and appreciating your peers, women or men. But to be able to pause and really take a moment to remember these women who actually contributed and never got recognized, I think is really precious. And especially having the whole month, at WLDA, the whole team is actually super excited about this month because we are going out and celebrating each member of Women Leaders in Data and AI. And we also have allies. So we celebrate our male allies and female leaders who are championing and focusing on figuring out how we can advance this mission of bringing women leaders in the senior role. And I love to see when each one of us is cheering for each other. I remember when we started this organization, people would say, oh, but women don't support women. And I am so surprised, and my heart is full of warmth when I see Sandy. I talk to these members, and each one of them is cheering for each other. What a great place to be. Now, what a great time to be when you have men and women supporting each other, but these women cheering for each other for better roles, for better situation, professionally and personally.
Yeah, it's critical in today, right? Not only for us to be cheering for each other as women, but also finding and cheering the allies. I know for example, in my career, I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for the allies that I've identified and have worked closely with in my career. And I think that acknowledging them and their efforts in assisting and continuing to educate them along the way is critical as well. So thank you for this.
And as you see, I think here it says world leaders advancing women leaders in data and AI. And I think truly you have to be a world leader to understand that mission and be able to support. And when we talk about leaders, I want to talk about strategy. As a leader, you define the strategy. And when you're a data leader or analytics leader, you are thinking about, am I building the right strategy for my organization to make sure that my organization is aligned with their data and analytics roadmap with the business goals, and that's such a critical piece, because if you miss that, the end result will not come out right. And then, of course, the business users don't have trust on the data, trust on the analytics, and then you are running an uphill battle. I love what you do, Sandy, because you are the leader of data analytics practice within your organization, and your purpose is to really think about the strategy when you're working with business users and technology leaders. So talking about your challenges? What do you see which is a miss when you're working on building a strategy with the business users?
Yeah, absolutely. So clients in our business, clients come to us often with varied challenges that they're facing or strategies that they're trying to employ, whether it's with data or just a business challenge that they're trying to address or opportunity. And oftentimes, I think us as a team, we're constantly taking a step back and thinking to ourselves, are they focused on the right issue? Are they trying to solve the right problem? Right. And when we do that, one thing that we try more than anything is get as many different types of perspectives in the room in that conversation. So before we even get back to the client, it's really just understanding what are all the different perspectives we need to have. And me personally, I find that when I have a diverse group of voices in that conversation, whether it's men, women, minorities, whatever, we come up with a better solution and a better challenge back to the client so that they can think more broadly. And our clients are also missing that diversity often, right? So we work with a lot of consumer facing organizations, for example, right? If you think about a CPG company, they may be packaging a product and addressing what is, how do I address this product to my consumers? Well, your consumers are most likely going to be 50% female. So the individuals addressing that challenge should also be 50% female because they're going to have a different perspective. And it's not just about marketing to somebody. It's also, am I solving the right problems for that individual and for that consumer market? So that's just a small microcosm of where I've seen this have value. But I think there's so many different stories in terms of, hey, are you solving the right problem? First question, do you have the right people in the room to have that conversation? And B, how do I solve that problem? Do you have the right people in the room to have that conversation?
This reminds me of, the whole example of all the AI is getting built by a certain category of people.
Yeah.
North America is building AI, and a lot of white men are building this AI for the world. And so, is it the right technology? Because we are building it for the world, which is a diverse population at all levels, from economic perspective or gender perspective or ethnicity perspective. So, how do you really truly make this fair? And that's where I think the whole conversation, I think the fear which a lot of tech entrepreneurs have is that what we are building, is that ethical and is it fair? And then the whole uh, movement that started by Elon Musk saying that let's pause AI, and there was the whole petition about it was really because of the fear of what AI could do if we are not being cautious, if we don't have the guardrails around it. I think the federal government and the White House ruling that came out, executive order around artificial intelligence, is really kind of giving you the guardrails and telling you what is the best practices. Europe took a big plunge into investing in what should be the right guardrail. And the conversation really, ethical and responsible AI is what we hear all the time. And organization, the question is, are we waiting for a regulation? Are we waiting for, the guardrails coming from the federal government? Or the organization need to start building this best practices within their functional areas? What are you seeing is happening as you work with the organizations?
Yeah, I try to simplify this as much as possible. At the end of the day, AI is driven by data, right? So it's a matter of looking not only at the data set and whether that in itself is biased, right? Who created the data? Where's the data coming from? Does the data in itself that you have inherently biased? That's the first question, which we've all had conversations around. I like to extrapolate that a little further and think about, okay, let's say we tackle that. I don't think everybody is, but let's say we are. Now let's look at what happens after you release that AI model in terms of fine tuning that. It's really about those who have access to that information and access to that model and the output of that. And that inherently is biased as well. If you think about it, right? There are men who are using ChatGPT at much higher levels than women, for example. So all the feedback that system is getting and learning from, it's actually biased in itself. So how do you give access to not only more ensuring others are getting access to that, but also diversifying the audience to maybe minorities or those who are disenfranchised and aren't working in IT all the time? That's the other, only IT executives are using ChatGPT right now. So if you look at the both sides of the coin, the data I'm putting in and how it's reinforced learning that is happening, and who's doing those, who's making those decisions on the reinforced learning side. I think we need to tackle both sides of that. And that's the thing that I keep watching as we're helping our clients with these challenges.
As I was at a conference and I walked up over to the coffee table, and there were these two kids who were from the media center. They were managing the sound and AV, and they were standing there and having coffee, and they were talking about ChatGPT, and we got into this conversation about AI and ChatGPT and how does the large language models learn and reinforcement learning. And so what I was saying to them, I said, you have to think about these large language models as kids. If you're going to start cursing, they're going to curse back.
Yeah.
Training, right? You're training these models on how
Right.
to react, how to act. So you have to be so careful. You have to say please and thank you. You have to make sure you give the right information. So it becomes very important, not just for the person who's creating AI, but also how you're consuming AI. So it becomes really important that we all are now educated about how we deal with this technology. Technology is living in our bedrooms now. Technology is everywhere around us. How we become responsible citizens of technology is really critical in this day and age. So I think that's important. And then the second thing which I think is really important is that in the world of AI, we have to be constantly learning. We have to become the lifelong learner to upskill and reskill. Whatever term you want to use. Some people like the upskill word, some people prefer reskilling better, but I believe that you fear about, oh, am I going to lose jobs, because AI is coming in. It's really about learning how to use AI to become more efficient. When calculators came in, we didn't forget math. We just became better at how to, be more productive in our day-to-day job. If you're an accountant, you use Excel formulas to become better. So I would love to hear your opinion about the whole phase of reskilling and how important it becomes, not only in technology, the world of technology, but also the other functional areas of supply chain or marketing or sales and so on.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. That analogy of when calculators came out, nobody forgot math, right? We all understand how math works. We need to understand the fundamentals. I think it's the same thing to me. I remember when I first got into coding, I was writing JavaScript prior to JavaScript libraries being a thing, right? So now I look at those who are learning these skills today in Python, for example, the early days of Python, and now there's all these Python libraries readily available for individuals to build upon. What it just means is that we're going to accelerate our ability to get things done. We're going to be way more efficient. And in order to do that, you have to reskill and you have to rethink of your work. And even every single day, I'm thinking about how can I maximize my efficiency around this task, or for my teams, how do I maximize efficiency of the tasks that they do day to day, so that we could, challenge ourselves in terms of how we address solutions, et cetera. So yeah, I think about it that way. I don't think about it as a reskilling. It's really an upskilling and an efficiency gain across the board. And the same goes for supply chains or any other part of the business, right? There are advantages to leveraging technology to enhance the way you work, and to ensure that the things that bring no value or little value to the business are taking the least amount of people's time. And I think that's something to always be aware of, right? What are the tasks or capabilities that an organization has to perform that perhaps a machine could perform instead? Leverage that automation and using AI to make it even better, and then enabling the ability of the organization to do things in a different way and to do things even better, and maximizing the overall value of the organization. So I look at it that way. I definitely, I know there's a lot of concern, a lot of worry, but primarily it's because we have a lot of people doing tasks that are bringing little value to an organization at the end of the day. So you have to rethink about that and think about the fact that moving cells from one system to another, copying and pasting data from one system to another, is actually not your value. Your value is in the understanding of where to look and how to address things and how to analyze them. That's the value an individual brings to the table, regardless of the job. So I'm not too concerned about that. I really am not. It's just going to look and feel different in the future.
Contrary, it excites me that I will have to not do manual work. Now I can focus on being creative and being strategic. And it gives the
Exactly.
opportunity to mankind to evolve to the next level, to be able to be more productive in whatever they do. If I have to give one tip, I would say no matter if you're in technology or in business, start working with tools that help you be more efficient. And so much you can find on the internet now, from all different kinds of large language models that can give you answers or help you do research, to creating PowerPoint or graphics, for your presentation, to, you can go on and on with all that is available now. I still remember those days, Sandy, I'm sure you do too, is when your technology was so expensive that, building, just going to Excel was the easiest thing we felt, the
Right.
Microsoft Word document. But now there is so many AI tools that's available. You could never think of using AI tools in a small business. And now small businesses are using AI. I mean, just the whole media or agency business have boomed by using all these AI tools that's available to you.
Yeah, and
So
they're all plug and play, and it's free and it's readily available. It just takes a little bit of understanding, right? Which you can ask AI what it is and it will tell you.
exactly,
So
exactly.
the thing you're scared of will literally explain itself to you, which is a new world. I love that. And it is readily accessible. I do find it is a massive opportunity for startups, right? It's going to be harder for larger organizations to pivot, but someone today who's starting a new company and has an AI first strategy out of the gates, I think they're going to be leapfrogging everyone very momentarily. So and it's not an AI company, it's just any company in any industry, in any focus. If you start your company and start thinking about how do I leverage AI in our processes and everything we're doing, it's readily accessible, practically free. Um, Go do it because the benefits will just showcase how quickly you can scale.
Absolutely. And as I come to the close of the episode, I want to talk to you about. I want to go back to Women's History Month, and I want to talk about. When I think about dedicating this month, there's so many people that come to mind. Of course, from your mom to somebody in your school, could be a teacher or a professor, or peers at work. Who comes to mind for you as you think about Women's History Month, and who would you want to dedicate this month too?
Yeah, this might be a shock to her when I show her this video, but it will be my mother. In my career, I have found there are moments where I'm an introvert. My mother was a salesperson her entire career. She did not have a college degree and she figured it out. She's a hustler. And I think a lot of who I am and who I've become as a leader in business is based on all those learnings from watching her as a child. And I applaud her for that. And I got a lot of learnings from her. I don't tell her enough how much I have taken away from that experience of just watching her perform as a kid. And she's always been this guiding light, whether she realizes it or not. So I would say my mother, definitely. I also want to just state, as being part of WILDA, I have had this unique opportunity over the last year to meet incredible leaders in data. And we have circles in Wilda, and I have a circle currently. And in that circle, there's a bunch of amazing women that I get to work with. But one in particular that we recently kind of joined forces and have started to do some stuff together is Laura Ellis from Rapid 7. She is unbelievable. And I learn a lot from her. And I think our conversations are always wildly unique. I never know where those conversations are going to head. And I love that about being able just to find someone out there in society that you connect with and are a peer to and be able to learn from one another. I dedicated to her as well because she's definitely shown me a lot over the
I
last
love
year.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I love that you call her out. I'm sure she'll be happy when she hears this. And I'm sure your mom will be so proud that you called her out. I totally agree. I feel like being the daughter of your mom, your mom is someone you go fight with, right? I'm sure everybody who's listening will agree that your mom is the one you fight with. The mom is the one you go when you're sad and when you're happy and you
Absolutely.
complain. And your mom always listens, and your mom always is there to give you a hug and probably roll her eyes and say, "Oh my God, there she goes again." But it's really special that you called her out. And I lost my mom 6 months back, and I don't think I ever said that as much out loud in the world. But
You
mom,
were
very special. Moms
Yeah, absolutely. I never do. I never do. She complains, she nags me more than I tell her I love her and tell her how much I appreciate her. But yeah, so it's a great moment to do so. So thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, and I want to call out to everybody who's listening, and I'm sure everybody who's listening loves their mother. What a great time during the Women's History Month to go celebrate, your mom, your sister, your daughter, whoever is in your life, your wife, your sister, your friend, your neighbor, whoever it may be. I think it's so important to call out, or your peer, your boss, your employees, and make sure that you take a moment to celebrate the women in your life, and make sure recognize them for the work they're doing. And believe me, we all celebrate the men in our life, and we make sure that we acknowledge all of you. Even though we are women leaders in data and AI, we make sure that the world leaders who are male allies are standing right next to us as we are celebrating this month. In fact, one of the recordings we did the other day for Women's History Month was with our male ally Howard Miller, who's the CIO at UCLA, and he was so proud to be on this show talking about advancing women leaders in data and AI. And that's what we need. I think we need more in this world where we all come together for the right thing. We all come together to make sure, as tech leaders, we are building data and AI with equity and parity, and we are all standing together to do the right thing. I think we are in such a great place to write history. We all are writing history as we are the data AI leaders, building technologies that will be used for many, many years to come. But I want to thank you, Sandy, for being here and having this conversation. I truly enjoyed. I enjoy talking to you every single time, and
Yep.
I love having the series where Wilda Women can come and talk about what matters to them. So thank you for being here, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you, Asha, and for this opportunity. And it's been a fantastic conversation. I love these talks, and thank you again.
Thank you. And to everybody who's listening, happy Women's History Month to all of you, to everybody in your life. I'm Asha Saxena, and I urge you to stay engaged, inspired, and committed to making a difference in data and AI leadership. Again, happy Women's History Month to all of you. Thank you.